It's time for On Point, where we speak to experts to delve deeper into some of the key issues in the spotlight right now. An estimated 703,000 people a year take their own lives around the world. Now, that's according to the World Health Organization. This means for every suicide, there are likely 20 other people making a suicide attempt, and many more have serious suicidal thoughts.
As we observe World Suicide Prevention Day this Saturday, a day which was introduced in 2003 to raise awareness of this issue, we invite Professor Soo-yeon of Sungshin Women's University to discuss the issue further. Good afternoon for you.
Hi, how are you?
Well, first, ahead of the World Suicide Prevention Day, I just wanted to ask, why is it important to raise global awareness of this issue? What can awareness do to prevent suicides?
Well, I think having a day dedicated to suicide prevention is meaningful because most of the time we're caught up in our daily lives and we fail to look around and miss important signs that people around us are suffering.
And Ali, now, is it safe to say that all suicides are related to depression? Some suicides, they may come without any indication of a problem and happen quite suddenly for some for people around them. So what are the leading causes of suicide?
Well, there is no single cause of suicide. It's usually a combination of factors. And while depression is the most common condition associated with suicide, other undiagnosed and untreated mental health issues such as anxiety, substance abuse problems may exist. And having serious physical health conditions such as chronic pain can also be a risk factor. And as you mentioned, suicide is not overtly apparent in all people who actually attempt and complete suicide. It's usually a combination of high stress in someone's life with feeling hopeless about their future and feeling that because you're in this state, you're a burden to people around you, and having the ability to carry out this gruesome task of completing suicide. So usually these risk factors are very multifaceted, and having all the right combination of these can lead to fatal results.
Now, you might be asked this all the time, but what can people close to someone with suicidal thoughts do to help? What kind of support should they give?
Well, oftentimes people who are survivors of friends or family members who have committed suicide are really riddled with guilt. And they kind of look back and feel that they could have done something to prevent it. And while there is some truth to that, it's important that it's important to know that it's not all the time preventable. And while it's important to keep an eye out for important signs, such as giving away prized possessions, saying goodbye out of the blue, or being preoccupied by death, being emotionally supportive is usually the best kind of help. And getting them connected to the right resources, to good mental health professionals, is usually the best thing they can do to help these people. And these mental health professionals are trained to deal with these serious life-death crises in patients, whereas family members or friends are not. So getting them in treatment is usually the best option.
And do you see this problem growing as we're using more and more social media these days, and especially over the pandemic, many people have been using more digital solutions instead of meeting face to face, and they're feeling much more isolated than before. So do you see this kind of problem growing, and also what can people do and where can they get help?
And it's an important point. Usually there is some type of contagion effect with suicide. So like having someone around you who have had these attempts or who have had these experiences can expose you and make you vulnerable. And also, not feeling connected or not feeling like you belong to a group of friends or feeling like you're not supported is definitely a very big risk factor of suicide. And many times people who feel hopeless about the future think that suicide is the only way to solve their problems and the only options they have left. And many times, in clinic, we find that this is untrue. Many times people who contemplate suicide don't really want to die, but they really want just their lives to change. They want true change in their life. And they might not know the necessary steps to make that change. So many people with suicide attempts who don't complete it actually do go on to live happy lives. And the best thing that you can do for your future self if you're feeling suicidal is get professional help, seek out emotional support from people around you. There are many, many resources for suicide prevention, such as the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. I think the phone number is 1393. Or Lifeline Korea, the phone number is 1588-9191. So utilize these resources to the best possible.
Well, I'm afraid this is all the time we have for such an important topic. But thank you so much for being with us this morning, and hope to speak to you again soon.
Sure, and thank you for raising awareness of an important topic.